it's Scott Manley here with part 8 of How the Hell Do I Start EVE Online. So I've completed all the tutorial missions, and we are now at a crossroads of sort. We have a whole bunch of things we can now do. We've completed all the tutorials, so we know we're not going to get any more skill books. So now is a good time to actually go in and buy a bunch of skill books which sound awesome, right? There's actually a lot of skill books you won't be given, and remember what I said about how training level 1 is, way better than training 4 skills to level 1 is way better than training 1 skill to level 2. So it's a good idea to start with like the basic sections. So like go to gunnery. There's tons of skills here. Now if you look at this top level one, don't click any of these or you'll lose the actual list, but if you look at the list here, you can see what each of the skills do, and also you can see from these icons whether you can train it or not. Red ones means you can't train the skill, green ones with a book in it means that you can train the skill, and ticks, of course, are skills you've already trained. So controlled bursts, that reduces capacitor use, which actually isn't that useful right now because Minmatar turrets don't require any power, so I can leave that out. But if I look down, medium projectile turret, might want to pick that up because I'm going to be graduating to cruisers at some point, but let's not look at that just yet. Small energy turret and small hybrid turret, those are the weapons of Galente and Amarians, and weapon upgrades. You see, a lot of these ones you can't train because you haven't got the skills yet, right? Now if you look at, say, trajectory analysis, view details, look at the info, prerequisite says gunnery level 4, so it's good to get your gunnery skill up so you can get these. So there's nothing in that category. Look at engineering, what do we have? Tactical shield manipulation, this is a good one. Ultimately this stops energy or damage leaking through to your armor through your shields. Energy systems operation, that is a good one to have, so let's buy that. Right, we'll put that in the hold. Energy pulse weapons teaches you how to use smart bombs. Not that useful for your average player until later. Energy management lets you manage your capacitor. 5% bonus to capacitor. That's a great thing to have. So let's take that. Energy emission systems. That's all about energy transfer and logistics. You don't need to worry about that. Electronics. Cloaking. Yes, cloaking. You want to learn about cloaking devices? Not worth it at this time because it's 3 million. Incidentally, after all that, I've got myself just over 3 million ISK. I have money, I can sell stuff as well. Electronic warfare is potentially useful, but not right now again. Actually, target painting, I believe, may need it. I should probably look to see if target painting needs... Oh, target painting doesn't need it. I should buy that because that's a Minmatar skill. It'll go on my ships can use target painters later on. Weapon disruptors is for tracking disruptors, not that useful. Target breaker, not there. Signature analysis, improved targeting speed. Well, improved targeting speed is an excellent thing to have, right? So you see there's all these skills that you can learn, and some of them are good to have. Radar sensor compensation. Aha, now this stops people jamming you. Now I am sitting in my venture. Let's actually change to my let's change to my Thrasher. Make active. And you'll see this targeting, and what you see is it says radar sensor strength, right? See this number here under the targeting menu? There's a bunch of stuff in this which I haven't explained, right? So on the Thrasher, you can see the usual. There's 8 high slots, there's 7 turrets, 1 missile launcher slot, 3 mid slots, 2 low slots, and of course 3 rig slots. Down here is your cargo capacity and your drone capacity. No drones available on this. On this side you have all these different tabs. 550 gigajoules, 290 seconds, that's your capacitor. Capacitor information. Basically that's your capacity and that's how long it takes to recharge, and it works out to be 4.7 gigajoules per second. The defense section will tell you how much damage you're doing. Obviously I'm not going to do any right now because this has no guns fitted at this time. Defensive section will tell you your shield, armor, and shield, armor, and structure. this is the best one at the top, and these are your 4 different damage types. So you can see electromagnetic damage, the shields have no resistance to that, but the armor has a 60% resistance. Thermal, your shields only have a 20% resistance, but armor has a 35% resistance. And when you get to kinetic, the shield is now better than the armor, and with explosive, the shield is way better than the armor. And these numbers tell you how much damage you can take. And this 593 seconds, that is how many, that's the recharge time of your shields if you don't have any boosters. And this is a complex number here. This is well, not a complex number. It's a number which is calculated via a bunch of multiplications or whatever that presumes that you're getting hit by damage. How much damage can you take before you die? Anyway, the targeting section, I was originally getting to this. First of all, it tells you the range at which you can target. This is the signature radius for being targeted. This is the scan resolution, so the higher that is, the faster you scan, right? Actually, or is it the lower? Yeah, the higher that is, the faster you target, therefore the less time you take. And this is how many targets you can target. These two values here are more concerned with bad guys dealing with you. The radar sensor strength tells you how hard it is for your weapon systems to be jammed, or your targeting systems to be jammed via ECM. And each of the races has different systems, right? The Amarians, no, the Kildari use gravimetric, so they have a gravimetric signal strength. For example, getting this higher basically makes you harder to jam, and it can actually be useful. So it's interesting to, or it's good to make sure you have the right one trained up, because you will sometimes find NPCs that deal with it. Long range targeting, let's buy that. I'll add that to my list. Long distance jamming, radar sensor, 8 radar sensors. So if you're a Minmatar, you want this, because it'll make it harder for Guristas to jam you. It'll also make it harder for other players to jam you. Obviously, look at your spacecraft and figure out what you're best at being dealt with, whatever. Electronic warfare is for ECM, and so we did that. We got our drone skills. Do we have any drone skills we can train now that we've got drones level 1? We could get mining drone operation. How dull. Engineering we already checked. Industry. Mechanic. Mechanic is not to be overlooked. It's like the armor equivalent of the shield stuff. And you need mechanic skills if you're going to fit rigs. So if I want to have energy, like, where is it? Industrial jury rigging is important if I'm going to train rigging, and that is going to take, I need mechanics level 3. So you want to get mechanics level 3 as soon as you want to. Leadership. Leadership is for if you want to give bonuses to your fleet. It's important later on, but not for a newbie. Just looking down this list, not seeing the thing. Yeah, shield rigging, for example, right? For this, you need to have jury rigging level 3. Once you have the rigging skills, you can start fitting rigs, and that's good because you've got those 3 slots, and until you use them, you're wasting the potential of your spacecraft. And on the rocket side of things, missile bombardment, I guess I get missiles level 2. This increases maximum flight time. That's good. More range on missiles, always good to have. Unless you're Galenti and never use missiles, in which case you need not apply. Missile launcher. Navigation. Navigation is good. Acceleration control, that's useful. It saves power when you're using afterburners, so let's do that. Evasive maneuvering, extra agility. Who wouldn't want extra agility? So see, there's all these skill books you can train, and they will all help you. And just even training them to level 1 will help. Warp drive operation. It says it reduces the capacitor need for warp. You'd be surprised how much time that ends up saving in the end. Planet management is if you're going to do planet mining. Science, probably not a lot here that you want to be interested in just now until you actually get into research. The only one you might want to look at, well, there's bonuses to research and stuff here. don't bother with biology. There's astrometrics and astrometric rangefinding. If you're getting into scanning down targets, then the astrometric skills are extremely good to have. They will make things a whole lot easier. But GHI, Infomorph Psychology, doesn't have any prerequisites. It costs 1 million ISK. This lets you have jump clones, and jump clones are a way to save your implants and have multiple locations around the galaxy, let's say. Social, don't overlook social skills. If you're getting into missions, getting the connection skill book is really, really useful. It will save a whole lot of time if you train this first. But right now we don't need to worry about it so much. Spaceship command, well, there's like tons of skills to train here, and you can train all of them. The next step up, incidentally, for me after the destroyer is the cruiser, and that will require that I train the destroyer to level 3, of course. It's useful to know, but yeah, we're not going to bother with any of that. Oh, just finished training rapid fire. Subsystems are all needed for Tech 3 ships, and trade is all for trade, of course. And you don't need to... Contracting, again, you can't train that just yet. So I bought a bunch of skills. Let's go in and take a look at the loot that I have sitting around. You see, we have all this stuff that I need to deal with. Okay, train now to level 1. Archaeology we don't have the prerequisites for. Contracting is restricted because I'm on a trial. Energy systems operation, evasive maneuvering, all these things are good to have. Hacking, I don't have the prerequisites. Radar sensors, long range targeting, missile bombardment, production efficiency, propulsion jamming, retail, signature analysis. There we go. Small projectile target painting. Now. Warp drive operation. Yes. So, you know, you can get a pile of skill books, and since you're in a station that is an academy, go wild. Buy all the skill books now, because if you go to one of the trade hubs, you'll probably be paying a premium. Now, a bunch of these skills, you will also have a pile of stuff in the station that you should really just sell, right, or get rid of. So, like, you're going to have to sell these things one at a time, right? So, small projectile turret, completely useless because you start with that skill. So I can sell it and someone's paying me a ridiculously low value. Let's not do that. Let's go to my items. Well, you know, incidentally, if we make active, if you want right now, you can just go and start mining. You can take your little venture and you can go out to the asteroid belts and start mining away and grinding your way up, making money, and you'll be as happy as you can doing that. I'm not going to show you how to do that right now because I think people prefer shooting things in adventures across the galaxy. What I would advise next is what the career agents advised. They said look for someone called Sister Alitura. So actually, just go to people and places, search for agent and search for sister, and you will find Sister Alitura. And you can actually right click on her and set destination. She is 21 jumps away. And I will probably not go that whole distance, but she is going to start you on an epic quest that will take you across the galaxy. But instead, I'm going to get this Thrasher set up. Now, a bunch of this stuff we should really just... we can take with us, a bunch of the stuff we can sell. We have 400 cubic meters, and honestly, we're not going to be coming back to this station. You can sell these things individually if you like, or you can just melt them all down. It's up to you. You sell my probe, sell my rifter, sell my slasher, sell my wreath, sell my venture, and that should be, we should be doing a little better now in cash. That's 3.5 million. Now, just for interest, if you're looking to go, the next step up after the destroyer is a cruiser, and a good example would be the Stabber. Stabber costs about 10 million, and that's, of course, you still got to buy weapons as well. So selling all this stuff, it says, is worth 2.57 million. Probably not going to happen. Now, you don't need to sell everything individually. A lot of this really is garbage, right? First of all, we're going to take some of this stuff with us. We're going to take this rocket launcher. These ECMs are not worth anything. The guns we could actually fit to this ship right now. We'll just put small guns on it. We will stop at a trade hub and upgrade our guns. So that's 150mm guns and 125. It's not a good idea to mix gun sizes generally, but sometimes needs must. Antibiotics. Oh, let's fit one of these because speed is good. Fit to active ship. Sell the antibiotics. It's garbage, but it's there. We'll keep the skill books because we can train those later. So let's bring those across the galaxy with us. Put those in the cargo hold. The blueprint, maybe you want to do something with it. All the civilian stuff. All the civilian stuff is garbage, right? So take the whole thing, right? Do a shift click, right click, reprocess. Your skills are rubbish, but you will get a pile of minerals out of it. Same with these. Reprocess these just for speed. So instead of having to right click on everything, you can just sell, you can reprocess them. Sell civilian miners, they're garbage. Sell the trash the civilian Gatling autocannons, they're completely useless. Take that coprocessor along, kinda good. Contracting skill, good to have. Core probe launcher and the core, keep those, because you're going to need to do that later. Damage control I'm fitting to my ship. Sell the data sheets. The basic civilian tech, I don't know what you do with that. You can leave it sitting around. EMP, all this ammunition. Excellent stuff to have. Stick it in the hold. Expanded cargo hold, you probably don't need, but let's leave it around. Sell this item. Sell. And then we have the fusion, good to have. Gyro stabler for extra damage. Hacking skill book we can put in here. Rockets in here. Then we get to things like the mineral. Limited explosive deflection field. Actually, it's a good thing to keep around if you're heading into such a mission. Megasite, Mexalon, all this stuff. We can just sell all this, right? Let's sell the isogen. You're probably not going to get a great price, but, you know, Kernite is bulky. Sell that. Let's sell this. There's a whole pile of stuff. The mining frigate skill, you can take that. You can sell it, actually. Actually, that's a terrible price. Let's stick it in the hold and sell it when we get to a trade hub. Overdrive injector systems, they're rubbish. Let's sell those. And the expanded cargo hold, we don't need those either. Metal scraps, actually, I'm going to take to the trade hub, as I will the megasite. I'm going to bring partial weapon navigation is rubbish. Passive barrier compensator, all these things. Rubbish as well. Phase plasma goes in here. Production efficiency. These are, you know, rubbish. Trash it. Propulsion jamming. We could sell that at a trade hub. Proton. The pyrite is a giant pile of minerals, so we're just going to sell those here. Did I sell those? Sell. There, we're going to sell it in piles. Retail skill book we can train later. ACCM. Oh, that is my. But yeah, bring an armor repair module. Bring these. Bring that. Small shield booster, good to have around. Stasis webifier. Titanium sabot. Yeah, let's just stick these in my hold. Stick the Mexalon in there. That'll be 30 cubic meters worth of stuff. Sell the water, it's useless. Take that web. Take the Zydrine, you can sell at the trade hub for more money. Sell the Velspar, it's useless. Uranium charge goes to the trade hub. Sell the Tritanium because it's giant and huge and, you know, giant. And yeah, take everything else with you, because you know they're mementos of your former days. And then that just leaves this venture sitting here, which yeah, we can just leave that there for now. And we can fit an extra shield hardening module once we get there. So let's head out into deep space, and we're gonna head to Heck. Yes, get to Heck. Heck is on the route for me, right? It's right here. No, it's right here. Now, Heck is the trade hub. There is a trade hub for the Minmatar. There's another one called Ren's, which is slightly bigger, but Heck happens to be on my route. That's why I'm going that way. So load default, general, and you follow the yellow gates. If you are an Amarian, go to Amar for your trade hub to kit out your ship before you go out to this mission. If you're Kaldari, go to Jeddah. And if you're Galente, go to Dodixie. Now, I mean, Arnon's pretty close to Dodixie as these things go. In fact, Arnon's something of a trade hub as well, but people do take advantage. They sell stuff in Arnon for way over the cost, simply because they know there's a lot of newbies there, right? Let's stack these into two groups there. See, I've got my guns all grouped up. So I can put Inferno rockets in here, and ooh, what should I put in this? Fusion in one, and oh, I can't reload because I'm jumping, and jumping clears the thing. So let's continue. Let's try this again. Inferno rocket, phase plasma. Phase plasma is useful against Serpentis and things like that. Fusion. There we go. So that's got a decent setup. And so now actually I can bring up my ship fitting screen, and you'll see that it tells me how many DPS I'm doing. It says I'm going to do about 90, almost 100 DPS. Wow, that's awesome. Unless you have like 70,000 hit points like your average battleship, in which case 100 is, you know, not good. It'll take you a while to die. So this is going to be a long trip, and I don't want to just fill it up with me talking about random stuff. I actually thought that we should actually go... I remember I talked about the browser. So the web browser lets you go to websites. It's a fully working Chrome browser with... albeit with Flash disabled. Now, there's a bunch of really useful websites you should know about. One of them that comes to mind is evecentral.com, and that is the market browser site basically. It lets you see the price of things in various locations, such as Heck, for example. I can see what the price of hardware is. I can find out, for example, if I want to buy 150 autocannon, right? We'll just take 150 light autocannon, and it tells us that they're for sale in Metropolis for 13,000 ISK here. So that's relatively cheap. This is all crowdsourced. If I want to find out how much a stabber costs, maybe it's cheaper to fly somewhere across the galaxy. So there we go. 8 million ISK in the Tashmurkon region, which is an Amarian region, which is a really, really long way away. Yeah, Molden Heath, oh there. Molden Heath is largely low security space. And then you'll see a lot of Jeddah here. Jeddah being the trade hub, the premier trade hub, everything is for sale there. So that's one good place to go. Another useful place to look at is Battle Clinic. It'll be eve.battleclinic.com. Now, it's not the greatest site. There's a certain mockery that this deserves, but it is relatively popular. One of the nice things, they have this kill board, which used to be the best kill horde, but now it's terrible. Instead, what you do have is things like people, they post ship fits, right, which shows you basically how to fit spacecraft, and people can rate them. So if I want to find out a fit for a Thrasher, right, I can browse. Let's see this. I can look for a Minmatar ship, and I can search for Thrasher actually. there we go. Thrasher ship, and then see what happens. It comes up with a whole bunch of options. Trash the Thrasher, shield tank, solo PvP Thrasher, level 1 armor, auto 125 whatever autocannons, or artillery. No. Wait a sec. Yeah, this is an artillery version of it. Now, artillery is the long-range version of the autocannon, the long-range version of the projectile turret. So this one is set up for range. You see, there's a salvager, invulnerability field, which makes your shields more resistant for all damage types. Afterburners, you know, a little shield extender, some recharge modules. These make the shields recharge, which is kind of interesting, and a power diagnostic system, so you can fit all this, and a pneumatic stabilization actuator, which is just another version of the gyro stabilizer that we're using to get more damage. So this is useful. You can see what people think about these things. It used to be a busier site. The one thing to be important to be aware of is to make sure you click on this box, because since Odyssey 1.0 came along, everything changed, right? It's not worth... You gotta make sure that things are for your version. It's entirely possible that your ship was rebalanced before Odyssey, like with Retribution, or even Inferno is less likely, but point is, you might if you go back to very old fits, you might find some crazy things that don't even fit your ship design anymore because they're not available. So anyway, I said that Battle Clinic had a kill board. Well, evekill.net is probably the definitive kill board at this time. It's a really nice API. You can go in and you can see, oh look, somebody lost a Rorqual worth 14.21 billion ISK. This was a capital industrial ship. It's a low-sec only mining support vessel. And yeah, must have got caught. Oh, it's Genos Oxider, or whatever. I don't know how to say their name. They're kind of awesome guys. They're great pilots. Oh look, see, I'm one jump out from heck. I've managed to fill all that time with ease. There are several bulletin boards to look at as well. One is Fail Heap Challenge .co.uk, I believe. Okay. So much for that. Maybe it's .com. Oh yes, there we go. Fail Heap Challenge. It used to be called Scrap Heap Challenge, and then it shut down and it was reborn, and it tends to be a little cliquey, let's say, but it's a great place. For Eve News, actually, the Mitani, and I forget whether it's two T's, it's one T, ANNI.com, and obviously I've got it completely wrong. The Mitani.com, two T's, one N. Yes, that's it. This is a gaming news website created by the Mitani, who is the leader of Goonswarm. So I'm just going to dock here, location dock. And the Boundless Creation Factory appears to be the definitive place. What I want to do is take a look at my ship, and I want to probably fit it with at least 150mm guns. It looks like we have a lot of room in the power grid, so I'm probably going to try and see if I can fit 200mm, right? Oh. Or maybe I'll fit... No, that's what I'll do. I'll fit 150mm guns. Oh. Ship equipment, 150mm light autocannons. And you'll see variations, so let's take a look. Variations. View mark... compare. And compare by meta level. So their meta levels 4 is the best. If I view market details, view market details, what does it say? 181,000. That's actually, considering that the next one's up is 181, this might be worth it. Let's just buy those. Hold on. I want to make sure. How much does this? This gives me power grid usage is 2 megawatts regardless. What are 200 millimeters looking like? So 200 millimeter autocannons, autocannon 1. Bring up the info page and compare. And we've actually got everything on the compare page again, so let's recompare. Bring up the power usage. Power. CPU is there. Meta level. And power grid usage, yes. So they all use 4 megawatts, but some of them use less CPU. So we are kind of tight on CPU, so perhaps I should use the one that uses the least CPU. So 200 millimeter light prototype automatic cannon. 200 millimeter light prototype automatic. 195,000. So it's probably going to be worth it for me to fit this. So I'm going to buy these. It's going to take a while, unfortunately. Whoa! Yes, these are selling at some ridiculous prices. Maybe let me just look at the other options. View market details. Yeah, these are way cheaper. And Tech 1 is really cheap. And these are really expensive. Maybe I'll just go with Tech 1 right now. I can buy 7 of these. That's what I'm gonna do. And fit them to my ship. So all those guns that I fitted, I don't need them anymore. Just drag them off. So this is gonna take. Yes, I'm gonna unfit, and I'm gonna unfit as well. Yes. Okay. Could take a moment while I do this. Yes, I need to unfit that part of the group. Unfit. Okay, now go into. That's my cargo hold, into my item hanger. I'm gonna start fitting these things, and hopefully I won't run out of CPU, because it would suck to have to put an extra CPU mod on this. Okay, that's pretty good. So next thing I want is, there's 3 types of ammo I need. Fusion. I'd probably get all the different types. Fusion S. So let's get about, 2,000 rounds, or 5,000 let's say, because we're going to need a bunch of that. That's excellent. And let's repack these. Repackage. Yes. And then I'll sell them off because I don't need them anymore. Because money is money, and selling off stuff is nice to have. You can make more money by selling these yourself, but you probably do not know how the market works, so you probably wouldn't come out ahead particularly well. Okay, stack everything in here. I gotta move everything out of the hold that I'm not going to bring with me. And that means a lot of this stuff. Coprocessor I will keep around just in case. And I'm gonna get rid of this stuff because I probably don't need it. So hacking, I just need one of these books. I'll sell the other one. Contracting, I'll keep mining frigate. I'm gonna sell small projectile. Gonna sell propulsion jamming. Going to sell. Okay, so this is almost all stuff to sell now. Let's sell. Yes. Sell. This is a lot of. Well, it's basically a lot of selling. What can I say? I could refine these into titanium, but people actually prefer them unrefined. The reason is that they are 50 times smaller, or 500 times smaller, I believe. Anyway, they're really small compared to actual minerals, so it's a good idea to buy them as scraps, and then you load them on a starship, fly them out to null security space, and then reprocess them there, and you make, you don't have to carry as much stuff. That makes a big difference when you're trying to build titans and stuff like that. It's called mineral compression, and people argue for and against. I'm going to keep that there just in case. I've just had an idea where I might want to keep it. Sell it. Sell it. And sell it. Okay, so what can I fit in this main slot? I have 37 CPU left. Now, An invulnerability field is what you saw in one of those, right? Invulnerability field level 1, or the limited invulnerability field I think is the best one. It needs tactical shield manipulation level 1, which you notice that I'm also going to... Ooh, it's going to take 34 teraflops, and I have 37. So that is a good module. I'm just going to buy one of these here and stick it in my hold, even though I can't... I haven't trained it just yet. That is one thing I'm going to bring with me. Excellent. So that's going to come with me. But I can also get shield extender. Medium shield. A shield extender increases the amount of hit points you have. Now let's see what it says. It takes 30 teraflops and it's going to take 28 power grid. So that's a useful thing to have actually. So if you look at, again, view the variations, and we'll close down the variations window so we don't stack all those. Compare, and we go compare meta level. So if you, let's take a look at the prices. 2 million, nope. 500,000, nope. 59,000, not so bad. 50, yeah, so this one, you know, you could buy this one as well. That's a useful thing to have. View market details. Buy this. Excellent. So I'll stick that. That should actually fit. Oh, did I check my prerequisites? Ah, there, I do have the skills to fit this right now, so I'm going to fit it to my ship and be happy with it. So anyway, I was also buying ammunition. I'm going to buy EMP. Wait, I actually have a pile of EMP. I'm going to buy some phased plasma, which does thermal damage, which is what the bad guys have in the region that I'm going to. So I'm going to get a couple of 1,000 rounds of that. And the other thing I'm going to get is depleted uranium. Depleted uranium is the nearest you have to straight up kinetic damage. It's got a little more range, and I'm going to bring that along. And there, that's good to have. Stick that in my hold with all the other things that I'm keeping along with me. Stack, oh excellent. I'm so ready. Titanium sabot is actually a good thing to keep along because it has better tracking than the average stuff. So, have I got everything I need here? Oh, one last thing I could do is the afterburner. I could upgrade it now to the limited 1 meganewton, and it's really cheap. It's 8,000, but it gives me just a little more speed, just a tiny bit more speed. So we're gonna put that on there. Sell this. Oh yes, I gotta repackage things before selling. Repackage and sell. The damage control, right, name damage controls are kind of pricey. Gyro stabilizers, I could look at those. Show info says variations again. Look at the variations to find out what other versions there are and compare them. And what you want to do is compare the rate of fire bonus, the damage modifier, but more specifically the meta level, right? Meta level 1, 2, 3, and 4 randomly drop from bad guys. So you can see there's a whole range of costs here. If I view in the market, cheap, still kind of cheap, still kind of cheap, and more expensive. So, you know, you can go for like meta 3 and it's pretty cheap. So I would do that, buy this, and I should be able to fit that in place of my regular damage control if I haven't managed to mess up my CPU usage requirements. So let's drag that here and drag that in here. Oh no, I made the mistake of I refit the same thing there and then repackage that. Yes, and sell this. Ah, good, decent setup now. Shield booster, can I replace that with something better? Show info, compare, and we have meta level. Now, view market details. 109,000. And how does it compare? How much extra shield does it give me? So the base one gives me 23, this one gives me 27. You know, that's a good, 20% gain over the previous one. So I'm going to buy that and fit that. So I'm right. Notice actually, incidentally, I am looking down the list of orders and seeing which one's in this station. Then I am right-clicking on it and selecting buy this, right? That's important. You want to make sure you buy the ones which are in the same station. Okay, sell this. Oh, not gonna repackage. Yes, sell this item. So this is that's just an example of how you can get a little more edge by upgrading your items. This missile launcher is kind of pointless, but I'm bringing it along just all the same. Maybe I could get more rockets while I'm there. We're going to continue on towards Arnon. We're going to cross into Galenti space. We're going to leave the realms of Minmatar's controlled space, and we're, yes, heading into the realms of the Galenti Federation. So, other places, yes, other things to look for. Okay, I'm going to Google something. EFT Eve Online. Right, EFT is the Eve fitting tool. This is useful. What it does is it lets you try and build your spacecraft in a little application. There's a screenshot here. You can see it. Yes. No, it's not working. Let's bring my modules in. I don't know where the screenshot is. Well, never mind. EFT is a good one for that. There's also PIFA, P-I-F-A, and that is Python Fitting Assistant. And again, that same idea, screenshot. Yes. Are you sure I want to continue? Yes, I do, but it's not letting me, damn it. Oh well. So much for that. So that's another idea, and the other one that you probably really want to look for is EveMon. Eve Online. This was originally created by a goon, incidentally. Everybody uses this, and then they badmouth Goon Swarm, but guess what? Guess where it came from. So this lets you plan your skills, and actually, very old character portrait. This is before they redid the character portrait system. It lets you know what skills you have, but more importantly, it will let you plan what skills will happen, and it will tell you when your training is about to expire. So it'll warn you, hey, by the way, you got to go and reset your skill. And now I'm going to cross into Galenti space. Take a good look at the background here, because we are about to travel a long way across the galaxy here. Everything changes. Oh no. This next one takes us into the next part of the galaxy. That was not the smartest maneuver from me, was it? So I'm going to load some phase plasma right now. Yeah, once again, pay attention to this gorgeous background. You can move around with the right button, and then if you hold the left button and push up, it zooms in, so you can just get crazy psychedelic star jitter. Not what I was intending. If you calm down for a second, there, let's take a look. Ooh, you can see the pixels there if you like. There. And now, yes! Now we are going to cross. Notice this gate is different. We view it from a different angle. And suddenly, it all goes blue. So the races have their kind of different backgrounds set up. If you look at the icons for the ships, you can tell what race the ship is by the colour of the nebula in the background. The Caldari, all their nebula in the background are blue. So if I look for, say, a Raven, which is a Caldari battleship, I look at that. See, blue background. And if we look for an Armageddon, Armageddon, you see, Oh, they show you a blue background there, but the icon is a yellow background. Why does the Caldari get all the backgrounds? That's not fair. Nice looking planet, mate. Also note these icons here. These are static complexes in space, and this is part of the Cosmos constellations, which were a series of interconnected story missions that were added very early on in EVE's development. Unfortunately, they never quite got finished, and so the rewards are terrible, and they're really only there to be done if you're absolutely wanting to do every single mission in the game. Otherwise, they can be very frustrating when you find that you don't have all the skills and you run out of time and you're, you know, messed up. So yeah, Galante have this green background. What will I look for? The Dominics. Let's look at that. There's the Dominics, but you see the background is kind of blue-green. And you can also find the pirate ships have different backgrounds, I believe, on their own. Okay. Where are we now? We're in the Cinq Liaison region. Also note, the jump gates have changed now that we are into Galante space. Galante have their own aesthetics. All the races have their own aesthetics, indeed. And of course that was best illustrated by looking at the models, right? The Dominics is all kind of curves, whereas the Raven, or let's look at the Rock. That's one of my favorite looking ships in the game. The Rock is just like all hard edges and angular. It just means business. The Galante try to create like artistic designs. The Amarians, Apocalypse. The Apocalypse, they are all, you know, curvy, but they're golden. Basically, golden armor. Supposedly, if you look, supposedly these have like inscriptions on the hull, which is all their holy writings. You know, they kind of go into battle broadcasting their gospel and everything to the hostiles. Not a great thing to do. So yeah, that's the design aesthetic. Oh yeah, and of course Minmatar design aesthetics. Well, let's just take a look at this ship and you'll see it. Good God, isn't that awful? Of course, I should point out, yeah, if you're flying this with other races, what you'll have, first of all, if you're as an Amarian, you will have the Coercer, which is a laser destroyer. It fits up to 8 lasers. The Galante get the Catalyst, which gets on many kill mails. It's very useful for killing miners in high sec. It's kind of interesting, it sits on its side, so it's kind of like the B-Wing. It's all asymmetric, again, all, you know, all curvy. And the Caldari will have the Cormorant. The Cormorant uses railguns. No. Yes, shoot. The Cormorant here. There it is. I saw somebody build one of these in Minecraft. I'm not sure why, but they did. Yeah, it's all angular. It uses railguns. It doesn't use missiles. Now, recently, or back at Christmas, they introduced the new destroyers, and I'm gonna try and remember what they are. They, one of them was the darn. Let's just go into the ship's menu. They introduced new destroyers for all the races. So the Amarians now have the Dragoon, which is a drone ship. It's designed to have drones come out. The Caldari get the Corax, which kind of looks like a submarine in space. Has a really cool design to it. That is a missile destroyer. It fires missiles. The Galante have the Algos. Again, this is a drone ship. You can see the drone bays on the side there. It gets bonuses to drones. And the Minmatar get the Talwar. Of course, Talwar named after a type of sword. And I hear that the brave newbies are filling fleets full of these things and killing anybody that comes near them, because they can actually get a lot of DPS out of missiles that are fitted on these things. what is it? Let's take a look at the thing. So yeah, light missile damage and radius and max velocity and all that. Excellent. Incidentally, the Tech 2 versions are used for interdiction. You'll see they're just basically like slightly different versions, slightly different colored versions of the hulls. And those are used, you see the red markings on this indicating that it's Tech 2. These are used for holding down targets basically with interdiction spheres. They don't last very long, but they are essential. There we go. So industrial ships which are in the process of being redesigned, these are all basically cargo ships. There's the Bestower, the Sigil, which is our Marian. The Caldari have the Badger, and the Badger Mark II. The Galenti have 5 different kinds of Iteron. They get bigger and bigger and fatter, and oh my god, it's a giant dildo. Yeah, basically. And the Minmatar, of course, have their own aesthetic going on. And the Wreath, yes, that's the one that I sold off. You cannot fly these unless you have a full account registered. And the Noctis is a salvage ship, which I think looks rather nice. I mean, if you were to ask me what I thought were the best looking ships in the game, I would say the Rock is my favourite by a long way. There's also a bunch of like special edition battleships. This was the Gnosis that was given out for the 10th anniversary. It's a battle cruiser that anyone can fly, and incidentally requires basically no skills, so my character could get in this right now. Of course he would be shot immediately for flying one, but that's what happens. The Echelon was a limited edition ship that has bonus to hacking, I believe. It's supposed to be a Concorde ship. The Zephyr is kind of nice because it will not get attacked by sleepers, and it has a little probe thing on it. It has a probe launcher. That's the only thing it can fit. The Imbicus, of course, is normally a probe ship, but they put out these different editions of the probing ships, and they gave them away as prizes, or not as prizes, as random gifts. Special edition industrials. The Prime, actually, the Prime was the original version of the Noctis. See this? That's the Prime, and then they said that's too good a model to waste, so they came up with the Noctis, which is the salvage ship. The Prime is all about planetary, planetary mining, basically. It doesn't help much. As you go up, the next step up is of course cruisers, and there's piles and piles of cruisers at each level. You've got, well, for the Minmatar, for example, you have 4 types. So the Bellicose is an electronic warfare one. It gets bonuses to target painting. The Rupture and the Stabber are both combat ships, and the Scythe is a logistics ship that repairs, repairs the dudes, repairs your friends. And here we are, we're at Arnon. It only took an hour of me rambling. Scythe is a useful thing to have around, nevertheless. And actually, one of the things I really need to do is train more destroyer skills. So, have I made sure that the destroyer skill is queued up? Or Minmatar Destroyer. It used to be that Destroyer covered all 4 races, but now Minmatar Destroyer is very specific to this race. Yeah, look at all those skills getting trained up and giving me little bonuses here, there, and everywhere. I should actually take Minmatar Destroyer and put it here before I train Spaceship Command any higher. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. I'm training mechanics up so I can actually fit some rigs on this ship. It's going to help a whole lot. Yes, I'm going to apply these changes. And now we are in Arnon. Also, notice we are once again different background. This is the Genesis region I am in, and the Genesis region is the first region that was discovered, essentially. It's the one that has the Eve Gate in it. And so I've jumped through and I'm now in a new region called Essence. So there's that same nebula but from a different angle. The destination station is marked. And we're gonna go and say hi to our agent, and she will send us on our way. This system is very full. Very important thing that I perhaps haven't mentioned until now is local. See this chat window that doesn't go away? A lot of people hide the chat window, but actually local chat is insanely useful, to the point that I normally have local chat kind of here as vertical as it can, and then I change the viewpoint on it. I can't remember how to do it. Yeah, there's a way to change the UI that I'm trying to remember. Oh, show compact member list, that's it. I don't need to show infantry. But yeah, this way I can see who is in system. This is really important in nullsec. When somebody jumps into system and you see them with a red flag against them, that lets you know that a bad guy has just come into system. So you'll hear people talking about check local all the time, and that is very true. Local is incredibly useful. Okay, so I think we get time to do just like the one little mission before we run off. Okay, let's get rid of the stuff here. We're just going to leave a lot of this stuff behind. The only thing I need is ammunition, so I guess if I sort by quantity, ammunition will all be here, and everything else can be thrown aside, cast aside. And that's... oh yeah. Ah, crap. I meant to drop it. Drop it in my item hanger. And now I shall talk to Sister Alitura. A beacon beckons. I ask for help and they send a capsuleer. You are a capsuleer, aren't you? An immortal pilot who subverts the rules of life and death, who shapes the fate of empires. You'll have to excuse my skepticism. I work for a humanitarian organization, the Sisters of Eve. I've seen your kind hasten the deaths of millions every day. You expect me to believe that you're different. To prove yourself, your actions will have to do the talking. We've just received a distress call from a ship called the Damsel, and you're the closest aid available right now. Get out there and save some lives. Prove to me you're not just another murderous liar with a god complex. With all the power at your disposal, you certainly could be a force for good, and one thing is certain. Good is in dire need of an ally these days. There we go. So we're just going to fly out to Monarch, so set destination. This is starting an epic story, which will take a long time to do. But it will take me all over the galaxy and introduce me to all the races and all their petty little bickerings and everything else. And you might actually find yourself getting approached by recruiters here as well. There we are. Note the new design on the station as well. This station is... it's a Caldari station, actually. Even though it's a Sisters of Eve... even though the Sisters of Eve own the station, it's a Caldari station, because Sisters of Eve don't have their own station design. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're going to Monarch. We're going back into the Genesis region. And actually, I wonder, you can show info on each of the location. Yeah. That is interesting. Show info... yes, Genesis. We're going straight into the Genesis region. So watch this. This is an inter-region gate, so it's like a completely different design. Again, we come through this, straight through the middle, and... oh, that never gets... I remember seeing that get shown off at FanFest when they added that, and the cheers were like... it was the loudest cheer they had that night. It was crazy. It may not seem like much, but you know, it was sorely missing for a long time. So yeah, Genesis region. This is kind of in the middle of the four empires. I guess if you look around, like, okay, so you can see a Galante Nebula there. I think that might be the Amarian Nebula there, and that might be the Minmatar Nebula. But you know what, actually, I think the Galante and the Caldari are really close to each other. I think that's the idea. They're actually just two sides of the same region, more or less. And basically the idea was with the nebula designs was that they wanted to be able, you to be able to know where you were just by looking at the background, or at least get an idea of where you were. Ooh, look at this Stargate. This is a new one as well. This is an Amarian style of Stargate. Ooh, of course, the wormhole effects all look the same regardless. So we're gonna go and find the beacon, warp to the location, and we'll start this epic story. Aha. Run the pirate level 3. Or look, here's somebody in local pitching the level 3 pirate arcs. That's interesting. That is a scary thing to do. If you do that, you have to get out into the middle of nullsec. That means going through other people's space. And there you can do a bunch of missions which are actually pretty easy, but the odds are, if you're not watching yourself, then you can get killed very easily by other players. But it's a lot of rewards for this giant arc. Okay, I thought I went to the beacon, no? Well, approach location. There we go. That's interesting. It has warped me to leave. Okay, no it hasn't. Where is the damsel? Yeah, is that... Oh, that's a revelation. Where's the damsel? I guess I need to change... Let's do all. Armageddon. Armageddon, Armageddon. Nothing here. What does she say? Approach the wrecked ships. That's my only instruction. Oh, there we go. Don't. The following objectives have been complete. So I'm going to head back, right click on that, set destination, and we can get out of here. There we go. Emsar in the Picanut region. That there, by the way, that is a revelation. That is, I mean, it's a dead revelation, but that is players can have that ship. That is a capital ship, an Amarian dreadnought, which dreadnoughts basically they only have 3 guns, but they have a special module which multiplies their damage by a factor of 10, and they're capital guns. Normally they can do something like 10,000 DPS when they're set up correctly. These things, the idea is they find like a starbase or something that they need to kill. Once they decide to drop them, they have to jump in using their jump drives, then they sit there, they kill the structure using ridiculous amounts of damage, and then get out. But while they have this module activated that multiplies the damage by 10, they basically can't jump out, they can't move, they can't fly around, they're stuck. They're committed for 5 minutes, so it's like... It's a strategic decision to use this thing, because you absolutely have to be sure that you can control the situation. And bringing that extra DPS is, you know, obviously the way... it obviously cuts down the amount of time you spend killing star bases and things like that. You'll find that most wars in nullsec over, you know, structures and things, or over sectors, over regions, over systems, you have to capture structures to do so, and to do that you need to kill them by hitting them with enough DPS to take control, essentially. And that's what capital ships are for, that's what dreadnoughts are for. Carriers are more about supporting fleets by repairing ships and providing, you know, places that ships can refit and everything. Here is another... It's another, what do you call it? Another Amarian gate. Here we go. And jumping back into Galanti space. Into Arnon to talk to the Sisters of Eve. Where we can then continue our story. And I think this is basically us coming to the end. We've gone over a little, but I did kind of ramble a lot. I'm sure that pros will look at my ship fit and say that it is actually terrible. To be honest, I just wanted to give you an example of how you could set up a ship and get slightly better performance from it by messing with all these parameters, by fitting exactly the right things. And oh yeah, incidentally, remember I changed out this gun and I changed out these guns? Now 120, 112 DPS. That's probably new skills as well. You know, it works out better and better as you improve all your skills, essentially. And as you improve these things. Once you get really good, you can fit Tech 2, and Tech 2 can fit special hardware, special types of ammunition, but that's a long way off. Okay, talk to sister and complete the mission. It seems Concord was faster to respond, but your backup was definitely appreciated. There were a handful of survivors picked up. They've been taken to various care facilities in the area, wherever vacancies could be found. Well, I hope they did well, and I hope to see you with the next part. It'll be part 9 next, where we will continue this mission arc. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.